Hey friends, and welcome back to another video from She's At It Again. My name's Tanya, and today I want to show you, or I want you to experience making what's called Senate bean soup. It's cold outside. It's supposed to get colder tonight. We've got winter weather warnings all over the South right now, so I need to make a few batches of soup, and this is the first one we're going to start with. This is called Senate bean soup because it is said to be served in the Senate cafeteria every single day of the year. So apparently politicians are crazy about it, but it really is a very good soup. You use navy beans, so it's just like it has other vegetables in it, but more than anything the navy beans and of course ham. So let's get started. We're going to need we're going to need to chop up our vegetables, but first, I've had these navy beans soaking for about 24 hours. I started out in hot water, and so we're going to drain the water off those and rinse those real well. This is not only going to speed up the cooking process, but this changes up the carbohydrates in the beans just a little bit and makes them easier to digest. So we got that part done. Of course, the water has cooled off in the last 24 hours. It's just room temperature water right now, but it did start out as very hot water. And I got my two buddies right here ready to help, which translated means if there's any piece of celery or carrot that comes their way, they're ready to accept it. Chop these as finely or as big as you want them, chunky. We're going to need a cup of chopped onions, and I already have a little bit of onion chop that was left in the fridge, so I'll put that in there as part of our onion. I just got this recently, and I learned that you don't gently push on it. You can't be nice to it. You have to smack it, but it works beautifully. And we need a half a cup of shredded carrot. You could dice it if you want to, if it gets small enough, but it's just easier to shred it. This is kind of my snow cone version of half a cup. we're going to go to the other side of the kitchen where the stock pot is on top of the stove, and we'll get started on making this. All right, we're back over to the other side of the kitchen on the stove top. I'm going to turn my burner up pretty high under my stock pot. This is a 6-quart stock pot, just so you know. We're going to pour our navy beans in the stock pot. Set the colander aside. And I have about 8 cups of water from my Berkey water filter in here. That looks like the right amount. And this is all relative. You just add as much liquid as you want. You can even use chicken stock, bone broth, whatever you want in this, but I just go with water because the vegetables and the ham give it a lot of flavor. So to the beans and the water, we're going to add our cup of chopped onions. We're going to add our snow cone-like cup of chopped celery. And our half a cup of shredded carrots. Again, snow cone size. To this, we're going to add a tablespoon of minced garlic. Here's where you need to make some decisions. You can use the ham that you've always used if you didn't really know about the curing process and knowing that carcinogenic materials go into curing meat. But I would highly recommend that you search for some uncured ham. And I get this at my local Kroger. It comes in a vacuum seal package. It's just a tiny little ham and it's sliced. But you could even use like a lunchmeat, a brand name lunchmeat, as long as it says uncured, no nitrates or nitrites in it. That's what you want to go for. The choice is yours. Go with whatever you've always done or what you have on hand, or if you want to make those baby steps toward eating better, feeling better, then I would suggest go with the uncured ham. And you're not going to eat this and go, wow, I just feel like a new person altogether. But just all this cumulatively contributes to a healthier lifestyle and just warding off any nasty diseases that might be lurking in the future. So put as much of this ham in here as you want. You can also use a ham hock. If you have a local farmer that you can buy an uncured ham hock from, that would be great. It's not going to have just a ton of meat in there, but the flavor from that bone and the smokiness of it is just going to be really phenomenal. And I have that, but I think that a majority of the audience viewing this video is going to be more apt to be able to go to the supermarket and find something that's uncured. So you can just chop it up in whatever size pieces you want. We don't mind the chunkiness of it. This soup really could not be easier to make unless somebody just brought it to you. But the fact that you don't saute anything, you don't puree anything, you don't have to really make anything ahead of time. You just buy your ingredients and dump it all in there. Except for the fact that if you want to soak those beans and get more benefit out of them, being easier to digest, then I would say start 24 hours ahead of time. But in cold weather, this is one of those soups that is just really hard to beat. All right, there goes our ham. And The only thing left to add to this is a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. There's our black pepper. All right, we're going to put the lid on that. Keep an eye on it because your burner is on high. Well, sort of high. You don't want it all the way high, but get it pretty high at first and get it to come into a good boil, and then keep your lid on it to keep the heat in. This is going to cook in about 2 hours. Now that's to say if you soak your beans for 24 hours ahead of time. If you don't soak your beans, it might take a little longer. It really just depends on what beans you have. Some dry beans, you can cook them for 3 days and they're still going to be kind of crunchy. But navy beans are pretty good about cooking quickly, so I would say check it at 2 hours. But just know that you can't leave the house and keep this going for fear of, you know, the bubbles may come up and overflow. But again, on a cold day, who doesn't want a big pot of soup simmering on their stovetop? So I'll come back and finish up the video when the soup is done and let you look at it then. It turns out creamy and just beautiful. It's really a nice soup, so I hope you give this a try, but we'll be back. Okay guys, we're back. We're going to take a look at our soup. And I stirred it just a bit ago, so I know it's done. It has been cooking really, really slowly for about 2 hours. And I think I forgot to mention at the very beginning of the video that I used a little bit over 2 cups of dry beans, so a little bit more than a pound, maybe 1.25 pounds of navy beans. You can always reduce it to 1 pound, but this is what you're looking at. And I wish you were here to smell it, of course, because it is delightful. But you know it's done when you can take a bean and smash it up against the side of the pan and it's soft enough to smash. So there's our smashed bean. So I hope you give this a try. Hopefully, if we have cold weather again, this will be one of the soups that comes to mind, and you'll venture out and get your ingredients and fix that. So thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video and sharing something else. Thanks, guys.